Welcome on in, everybody, to the Keys and Credit Podcast. For the next 40 minutes or so, you are in the presence of myself, Ethan Rebuck with Cutler Real Estate, and Brian Winkler with Pursuit Lending Group. And we are excited to unpack everything that happened in the week behind, go over some of these programs that we have for buyers to save some money, and then move into some current events. And honestly, we'll probably just get off track the whole way. I wanted to say a really quick shout out. Someone on YouTube criticized us for asking for topics. He said, if you're running a podcast in this day and age, you shouldn't need help finding topics. So thank you.
Thanks for giving us a topic to talk about.
Talking about him.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Gotta love it. Gotta love the comments on social media when I just went through because we don't post everything on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
That we do because YouTube Shorts has like a minute cap, and then I don't know, they're just weird.
Yeah.
And I went through one, and I had like the one house I said like country living in Alliance, Ohio.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of in the countryside, and it was on like an acre and a half or whatever. And he was like, "That's not country living, bud." And I was like, "Thank you, bud."
Where's Bud from?
I don't know.
To me, that's country living.
Right?
I mean,
So that's actually like, I hate the Bud isn't as bad. I hate the buddy. Buddy is, like when another man calls you buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, pal.
Yeah. Hey, friend. No.
But I'm cool with bro. Or like man is okay. Like if they're like, what's up, man?
Dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I'm good with all this.
Okay. All right. We're on a tangent. All right. Let's unpack what happened the last week, 2 weeks. I don't know what it would really be.
Week and a half, I think.
Yeah. All right. You want to start it?
Yeah, with me, getting some. So we do more than just Ohio.
Yes.
Florida. Oh, good Lord. I think we're up to 22 states. I'm not going to list them all. Get some action in Florida right now.
Nice.
I think the weather's a little bit nicer, so some of our past clients are moving. That's new. Everything else is pretty much the same. A lot of first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Just because rates are still high and nobody wants to sell their house. So what you got left is the first-time home buyers. So, which again, I think is going to change here soon, as the weather breaks. But newness, that's probably the newest stuff. Same old, but
yes,
maybe a little bit of Florida deals coming along.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the mixing pot, and it's mixing. All right.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have the dough done yet. So we get that dough done, and we'll put it in the oven and get it cooking. But a lot of things mixing up. I'm having a lot of conversations with sellers, buyers. Obviously, showing a lot of properties right now. Like we had a nice one come up in Louisville last night.
Country living.
It was not well. It was on half an acre, which in Louisville is not too bad. I don't know about country living, but
All right, bud.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So, but other than that, we had this meeting the other day with the MLS guy. Mm-hmm. I think his name's Tom. Anyways, the meeting, he was going over the MLS, and he was talking about, he said, we might be getting access to the Florida MLS on ours.
Sweet.
So, I know there's some agents that get their Florida license, and I'm not sure if they're just selling or if they're helping buyers down there.
I don't know enough, but I know there's quite a few that I'll see them post Ohio closings, and I'll see them post Florida closings. So I don't know if they're down there half the time and up here. I have no
So you have
idea.
some Florida agents that you refer to? Or,
No.
I mean, not Florida, but Ohio. Okay.
Actually, no. Anybody that we do a loan for out of state, it's usually a past client or a past client referral. But, yeah, I don't have any agents in Florida that refer me business, and I don't expect them to. I mean, a loan officer from Texas was doing a loan for one of my clients trying to buy in Canton. You and most agents would say you probably need to talk to somebody local.
Right.
So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've always I don't know. I feel like you got to get to a certain point before you're like, I'm going to go get my Florida license as a real estate agent, because
As an agent, yeah.
you really want to be down there and be handling. Plus, board fees get a lot. I've heard that theirs are cheaper down there for real estate agents.
Okay.
Yeah, board fees and all that.
Closing costs are a lot more expensive in Florida. So in Florida, you've got
Tell me about that.
no sales tax.
Ooh.
But they make up for it with what are they? State stamp taxes and tangible taxes. So closing costs are almost double down there than what they are here. So they're going to make up for the lack of sales tax somewhere, and that's one of the places they do it. But everything else is pretty similar, except houses are more expensive. And insurance.
Which is nice for us agents. Oh,
insurance is way up there.
Yeah, and we, like I said, that meeting, that was an interesting part of it. I hate unproductive meetings, and I hate meetings without a structure and to know, like, how long it's going to be. So I went into it like, okay, we'll learn some cool things. We learned some cool things about the MLS, and then people started asking questions about, like, the Toledo MLS.
Why?
I'm sitting there on my phone, like, so then, you know, I'm just like, why am I here right now? This is an hour and a half now. So I emailed the front desk lady, and I was like, why are we still in this room? Because I couldn't get out because the guy was standing in front of me. And she
pulled the fire alarm.
Well, she came up, and she's like, hey, guys, the pizza's here. Just wanted to let you know.
Smart. It's
getting cold.
Yeah. Did that work?
About 15 minutes later. Oh, where we had
the pizza was cold by the time you got there.
I didn't eat it, but I also was like, it was like our meeting and this like awards thing. I would rather had like, I like Chipotle. I'm not sure if maybe pizza's cheaper, but I always hate like any party you go to or anything you go to, it's like pizza. You know, it's like you ever just get tired of pizza and fried chicken and JoJo's?
Chipotle. I'm one of those weirdos that cilantro tastes like soap too.
Oh.
All over the place at Chipotle, so I'd rather have pizza than Chipotle.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I could eat Chipotle every day.
I know a lot of people can.
What's a restaurant like around here that you could eat every single day?
We're right above one. Basil.
Basil's
amazing.
Okay.
We talked about the Nook last week. The Nook is something else.
But like fast food, like you need to get in and out, like lunch, like, and Basil, they made my food in like 5 minutes. So shout out to them. But
Taco Tuesdays at was it Poncho's out in Green?
Okay.
And they're quick, man.
Quick.
Oh yeah. So quick, decent food, fast food. You know, Chick-fil-A is always good, but that's about as far as I'll go for Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Fast food wise.
Well, they're like those Mexican restaurants. They're sometimes a little like scary fast.
How long has that taco been sitting back there?
Well, yeah, that and like my plate's like hot, so it almost makes me feel like they just like are throwing them in an oven. They're like, oh, yep, they want the 3 tacos and beans and rice.
That's exactly what I ordered yesterday.
And then, oh, really? Yeah. And it's like 4 minutes later, and my plate is on fire.
I'm not even
like,
done with my chips yet.
Yeah. All right, I don't mean to get too much on a tangent, but my biggest pet peeve when it comes to Mexican restaurants, and I'd like to think that I wouldn't have a bias towards them, but when they don't offer free chips and salsa, like if you got to pay for chips and salsa,
wow, who does that? Because I've
seen it at a few.
Okay,
think about what's that one in Canton?
I don't know. Maybe
Adam Robb, do you know what I'm talking about?
I should call him out by name.
No, it's a national branch.
Oh,
what's it called? It's right there at Belden Village Mall. No, Talakipaki, I don't think is like that. Condados Tacos.
Oh, is that a national thing?
I don't know. But they don't give you free chips and salsa. What the heck? They have great food. Don't get me wrong. But
good save.
Check. Yeah, their tacos are good. They're expensive though.
They are.
They have a cool atmosphere.
Very cool atmosphere.
Is it the one in the mall, like attached to the mall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we've been there.
Which businesses usually don't survive in there, so you've seen a lot of them go in and out.
They've been there because we were there a long time ago, 3 years, maybe 4 years ago. We were right on top of each other, though. Tables are really small. But, yeah, the food was good. Yeah, they're more of like a specialty kind of taco place.
Yeah. Oh, I know of this real estate brokerage in Mansfield. They have their office in a mall now. I kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
Because think people walking. Trust me, I get it. But think about the foot traffic.
That is true.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We won't be moving to a mall anytime soon, but that makes sense.
I like the mall concept. I like a downtown feel. Now, Canton and Alliance. Canton would be easier than Alliance. Alliance's downtown is garbage. We got some work to do there, but.
We're calling out all kinds of people and places today.
Pissing people off this whole podcast.
Whatever, we'll get some topics that way.
I know, right? They're gonna see these videos on like Instagram and Facebook, like burning these bridges.
Just dogging a whole city.
Yeah.
Just the downtown.
You know what makes me mad about Alliance though? Is A-Town Burgers leaving? Have you been to A-Town Burgers?
I've never been to A-Town Burgers, no. I'm not out in Alliance very often.
Cities bringing in all these national companies and kicking out our local businesses, our mom and pops. All right. We should move on to our topic of the day.
What's that? We're going to talk about loans.
The buyers programs. Yeah, let's talk about loans. Talk about some programs for buyers, things that they can utilize to have great success when it comes to purchasing that house.
Well, one obscure thing which we talked about off camera was gift of equity. A lot of people don't know what the heck gift of equity is. So if you're buying a house from a family member, and that family member hopefully isn't trying to make every last dime or sell you the house for exactly what it's worth. So if there's a little bit of room there, let's say, the house is worth $200,000 and they want to walk away with $150,000, then you can simply make the purchase price not $150,000, you make it $200,000, and your loan amount then is $150,000. That's what they're getting is the $150,000. So the difference between the $200,000 and the $150,000, that $50,000, that's your down payment. But you didn't write a check for $50,000. The seller didn't write a check for $50,000. They're just gifting you the equity in the house. And you can get really creative with it. Maybe that scenario, you've got closing costs and all that. You could make the loan amount $160,000, and you put down $40,000, $200,000 to $160,000. The other $10,000, the seller can use as concessions, pay closing costs. So you can actually set those up to where the buyer literally is not coming out of pocket with anything, and the seller is literally walking away with exactly how much money they want. So I've had loan officers at banks have no idea what gift equity means. Now, again, how often are we buying primary residences from our family members? Not all the time, but when it happens, that's a huge thing. And if somebody's missing out on that, that's too bad.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, but again, not something you're going to see a lot of. Right now, still with first-time home buyers, I don't have a down payment, or I have a little bit in down payment. I don't have enough money to cover down payment and closing costs or whatever it is. So OFA, down payment assistance, is still a big thing. Again, I'm not a huge fan. I personally think you should have some skin in the game if you're buying a house. But OFA's there. The one drawback to OFA is whatever they give you, say it's 5% of $200,000, so $10,000.
Yeah.
That's tied to that house for 7 years. So if you want to sell within 7 years, you got to pay back the $10,000. If you want to refinance because interest rates went to 4%, then you got to pay back the $10,000.
Yeah.
But again, to get someone in a house, all right, it's there. But OFA, FHA, vanilla stuff.
It's exactly why I tell buyers, I don't want to get into your financial side. I don't really care. As long as you tell me how we can make it work. If you can make it work, great.
Yep.
I'm not, pointing a gun at your head and telling you to buy this house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like there can be like some blame like put on us, like in some situations. I'm not a salesman. Like I really don't care if you buy a house or not. And I feel like that's what separates some agents and some loan officers, is like, whether you buy this house, like someone's gonna I'm gonna like make money this year.
Yeah. No, I don't look at it as sales at all.
Yeah.
Unless you consider sales answering the phone, doing things that you say you're going to do, and know your job. Other than that, I guess that's sales. I mean, I used to think sales was the two-faced car salesman guy. Like I have to have this attitude and this personality when I'm at work, and then I'm normal when I'm not at work.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Just be honest and do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, my B&O folks heard me say that twice this morning, so hopefully they don't watch this and hear it again.
Well, and I start to think like for these buyers out there, and that's what I see on social media and so forth, is there's just so much misinformation put out on local markets. Like, yeah, if you look at a national scale, right, obviously you're going to have a negative connotation on the market. But if you get really micro and look at the Canton, Stark County area, I mean, it's not that unaffordable. Like you can afford a house making $20 an hour.
Yeah.
In the Canton, Stark County area. Oh. Granted, you're not going to be in, Glenmore Country Club, but you know what I mean? Like you have to take the pros and cons there and decide what makes sense for you.
Yeah, well, actually, one of our loan officers has a relationship with an agent out of Cleveland who only does out-of-state clients. So these people live, mainly it's Washington, Oregon, California. These people live out there, and they're buying rental properties here.
Yes.
And Dan gets, I think, typically like maybe 2 deals a month from this agent who has 4 loan officers. He just round robins. So that's 8 deals a month that people from one agent, that people from Washington, Oregon, California are buying rental properties here. And that's because it's cheap.
Yeah.
And they can make rent, and their cash flow is good. So, yeah, this is a fantastic area for first-time homebuyers. Luckily, we don't live in Southern California or places
and investors from there. I know of an agent who he would go out to California and to meet with these people, to meet with brokerages out there, to get their investors and people who are looking, because Akron is one of the prime spots for investment properties. It's the nice medium between some of Akron can be good rents, not too terrible of an area. Yeah. Especially around the college, you can make things happen. But
yeah, even Barberton, it's not awful.
Hey, I got a commercial listing over there.
There you go. Coventry Township, where I am, there's some cheaper homes, but it's not a bad area. You're not worried about getting shot when you walk out your front door. And you can buy a house for 130, 40, 50 grand.
Right.
So first-time home buyers, if you're making $20 an hour, as long as you don't have a bunch of debt, you can buy something like that.
And that brings up a good point when we're talking about crime and around where you're purchasing your home. As your real estate agent, as your professional, I cannot tell you how good or bad an area is. And so if your agent's doing that, that's illegal. That's fair housing laws. So they should not be doing that. Instead, I would direct you to www.spotcrime.com, which will show you recent activity of arrest and why their arrests were made. So they have like theft on there, random ones. They have like shootings. They have all that stuff. So you can look on it. It'll show it around it. It'll tell you what time that happened. That is just a good tip because
that's great.
Yeah, because as your real estate professional, like, what would me bad mouthing an area is going to be steering them away. Yep. And it's same thing like when you're talking about like roofs or furnaces. It's like I've been around plenty of roofs. It looks like a pretty solid roof, but I can't tell you if it's good or bad. Like you need to get a professional to come see this. And I feel like a lot, with real estate agents and other professionals, like we want to be the expert, so we want to have all the answers. Yeah. And majority of the time, you just don't have all the answers. You need to seek out higher guidance.
So spot.com?
Spotcrime.com.
Spotcrime.com.
Yep.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
Spotcrime.com.
That existed.
I always recommend it to people. Yeah.
Yeah, my theory always, it used to be try to know everything, but now it's just know where to find the answer. I don't try to know everything, man. If a client asks me a question and I'm stumped, that's why we have underwriters.
Yeah.
And I can call an underwriter. So I'm not going to pretend to know everything because I don't. That's my theory.
Right. So OFA programs.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people tell me they suck. Other people say they're good. Other people utilize them a lot. I'm sure they're pain in the butt sometimes because working with the government's never easy.
If as a lender, if you know know the process and no, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
The client has to go through an online counseling course, which I think maybe takes 20, 30 minutes. You could do it while you're watching TV on the weekend. Then you do like a phone call with the state towards the end of the process, and that's pretty much it. Now, if the lender doesn't know, so we know to make sure our client does that counseling as fast as they can up front because the state's going to have, I think back in August, there was 2 weeks in between the time that you did the counseling for them to set up that phone call. So if they wait till the end of the process to do the counseling, your closing is going to get pushed off. So as long as the lender is aware of time frames and turn times, that's it. The rest of it is us. I mean, the only thing really the state's looking for is their bullet points, which you have to have a 650 better credit score. They're going to look at the score. There's an income limit. So they're going to look at the income just to make sure it's not over that limit. There's a few other things, but if they're not underwriting the file. They're not,
Right.
calculating income, none of that stuff. So that's easy. Now, USDA on the other side, they tend to look for reasons to decline loans. They really dig in, and they want you to explain, why was this $3 deposit in your bank account? Prove that. Explain this. Explain. That's awful. I'm not a big fan of USDA. I'd rather do FHA with down payment assistance than USA and USDA, in my opinion, just because there's so many little things that USDA could find that I wouldn't even think to look for that they're going to decline a loan for. So, and they're becoming more and more difficult to qualify for.
Right.
So USDA is there. We do them. I always have a backup plan if that's what you're doing.
Right. Makes sense.
No.
Absolutely. So when we talked to the MLS guy the other day, he said that like they have this program through the MLS where they can track like where the market is, and we're at a neutral market, which I feel like most everyone can feel. But I think it's interesting. Like even though we're still in a neutral market, as far as probably like our area, state of Ohio, like there's little pockets that might not be, or just like homes just might be priced like where they go fast. So I always have to remind my clients about it. We went out to look at a house last night, and in the middle of the showing, my showing got canceled on the app. And I was like, what the hell? And then I look at it, and it's pending. Oh, I called the agent. I was like, so I'm out here right now, and you just cancel my showing.
While I'm here.
I'm like, what's going on? It's this Cleveland agent. And she was sweet. It was honestly fine at the end. But she was like, yeah, we just accepted an offer. I was like, well, that would have been nice to know before we, drove out here.
Where's the house?
It's in Canton.
And she's in Cleveland?
Right.
Is it like a foreclosure or something?
Well, it might as well been, dude. It was a complete gut.
All right.
I mean, this house, the guy who was there, he's like, oh, I can do this, this, and this. And I'm like, this looks really expensive.
So like a cash deal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. Unless it's like a foreclosure or a share or a short sale. Then I'll start seeing agents that aren't from around here.
Okay.
Them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that sucks.
I told them to offer half, and it sounds like they got an offer over asking. They were at 28,000 listed. So that was like, well, we looked at one on Ross. Do you know where Ross is?
No.
Okay. It's in Canton.
Okay.
And that one was listed at 30, and we offered 15, and they took it.
Oh, sweet.
So I said offer 15.
Yeah.
So, but that one had some serious foundation issues. So,
Jeez.
But if you're making it into a rental though, and the city of Canton's going to pass it because they have their rental laws.
Okay.
You know about the rental
No,
laws?
I don't. What are the rental laws?
Yeah. So the city of Canton has like a certain inspection
Yeah.
that you have to pass to be able to rent.
To live in it, basically. A human to live in it.
Yes, if you're renting it out, if it's
Yeah.
just your house, primary residence, they don't have that rule.
Really?
Yeah.
So they don't care if I. Okay.
If you suffer, they don't care. But if you let someone else suffer, they do care.
Interesting.
So you'll have to do like a certain amount of things. And actually, the city of North Canton just adopted this, and the city of Alliance has been fighting over it for 3 years now. So you have like these landlords. I'm not sure if you're familiar. You get like Clear Sky Realty. They do a lot of business over there.
Okay.
So they have a lot of rentals.
Really?
And they get a lot of slack online for like the condition of their rentals, like whether they just need like work in some different ways in their communication. And so the city like implemented this inspection so that they're getting like the problems are getting addressed.
Is it retroactive? So if I own 50 rentals in Canton currently,
Yeah.
do I have to go through these inspections, or is it only when I buy a new one that one needs inspected?
It's every rental on the market.
So on the market. So
No. So like if you have a rental,
yeah,
it will get checked. If it's not your primary residence.
even if I've owned it for 5 years.
Correct. So yeah, you'd fill out this form. They would, set up a time to come out. They would charge you a fee.
Of course.
So if you have 100, that's what their argument is. They're like, I have 100 rentals in Alliance, and you're going to charge me $100 fee. And then I'll tell you what all these landlords are going to do. They're just going to be like, well, I'm going to raise rent by $50. They're going to use that as an excuse to increase rent.
Well, yeah, they're going to pay the fee, and And if they find anything wrong, you got to fix it.
Right.
Well, that's going to cost money too.
Right.
I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of rental properties start hitting the market.
I hope so.
So what are they looking for? Like radon inspections? What are they doing?
No, just like a general touch point. If I had it pulled up, they're pretty much going to follow what North Canton did.
Okay.
So like general things, like I think it was like smoke alarms, like if water's getting in, like the roof, if there's like any, it's more of a general.
Sure.
Like it's not like they're not going to be really like highly inspecting things, but more or less like, is this house like livable?
Who are they having do the inspection? Like private?
Be the city.
The city itself is doing the inspection.
I believe that was their proposal.
Wow.
But they still are like in this whole process of fighting and everything. And then like you got the landlords who like they're pissed off and they're fighting with their group. And then you have the homeowners / like renters who like have their little group. And so they're like, yeah, we need good housing. And then the landlords are like, yeah, but it's too expensive. And, they're going to fight, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen.
We need two little dolls.
Yeah, right. Like, this is
gonna
unfair.
say, you got a couple
Yeah.
of those?
Here we go. All right. And then they just need to, like, make up and hug, and it'll be all right. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think that good, safe housing is important.
Very important, yeah.
Very important. I also understand where they're coming from. And I also understand that the renters are just going to get hit with another fee. Like they're just going to raise rent.
It's like anything. Like the banks, something goes haywire, we're going to have a higher transaction fee. They're going to make their money somewhere.
But also you have to understand, like a lot of these people who are getting worked up about it, like they're in housing where they're paying $600 a month or $500 a month, which is way below where Alliance should be. Alliance is more around like for a 3-bedroom, 1.5, 2-bath house. You're looking at like $1,100 to $1,000. So you have to understand like what you're paying for. So you're almost going to inadvertently move out anyone on lower income from the city of Alliance. And maybe that's their ploy because they're just going to come over to Canton where they still have the rules, but they're still able to get houses cheap enough because areas are low income, and I think they'll hold that stability. So, I don't know. The City of Alliance is an interesting thing. They got some good people over there driving stuff, like Rick Baxter, bringing in businesses and so forth. I would like to see more manufacturing type of deal businesses.
Sure.
So, like, it's great to bring in fast food, great to bring in restaurants. But what kind of businesses are you bringing to the economy, right? Are you bringing a $15 an hour employee? Are you bringing a $30, $35, $40, job?
Sure.
So,
I'm not out in Alliance very often.
Really?
But yeah, I just don't head that way.
You're in Canton, so
Yeah.
you don't need
I don't
go
have
to
to show
Alliance.
houses, so I'm,
Yeah,
we
I'm all
do
over.
Alliance at closings.
yeah. Someone today was like, do you cover like this area? And I'm like, of course I do. Yeah. If it's in Stark County, if it's in surrounding counties, yeah.
Yep.
Like, I'm here for you. I understand, like you get to a point where, like, some surrounding counties, you're like, I don't necessarily want to work with the buyer there if you don't have to.
It depends on how busy you are, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're swamped,
Yeah.
tough luck. I'm not going to Trumbull.
Yeah. But a lot of the counties around here are pretty similar. And
Yeah.
They are. So.
Summit, Stark, Portage.
Yeah.
Pretty similar stuff.
So, all right, we talked about some of the home buyer programs, some things that people can utilize. If you want more information on that, definitely reach out to Brian. He can help out, explain some of the pros, cons to some of those programs a little more in depth and see if it might be the right fit for you. Other than that, I think we are going to do our little small business shout out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
I think that's going to be a good little thing. So we'll take a little bit break. You're going to see a commercial come up with that shout out, and we'll go from there. You know what time it is. It is the small business section of our podcast. We are here to shout out a Stark County business. Brian, do you want to start off?
Sure. Graybill Plumbing and Heating. I've known Luke for 9 years now. I think Luke's owned Graybill since like 1980. Luke would have to correct me on that one. But you talk about an amazing small company. I first got into the network group that I'm in with Luke. I'm an idiot. I didn't, plumbing, but the company is absolutely amazing. They're out of Beach City. I mean, the kitchens and baths and the things that the displays they have, just absolutely amazing company. They treat their clients. Well, I've done quite a few loans for not their clients, their employees.
Yeah.
And they take. I mean, if I knew anybody young wanting to get in the trades, go there. I mean, it's an amazing place. So Grable Plumbing and Heating, awesome.
Cool. All right, and mine is to all of the gentlemen out there, husbands, boyfriends, whoever you may be, you have a special lady in your life, I have just the spot for you in Louisville, Ohio for this February 14th. And that is Scratch Steakhouse and Lounge. It is a fine dining experience unlike any other. You go there, your pockets are going to be empty by the end of it, but you are going to have a good meal. Your wife, girlfriend is going to love you, right? And it's just going to be a great, spectacular night, all right? So go on in Scratch Steakhouse and Lounge. I will leave the link for reservations below, and you will be able to set that up, make her happy. It's going to be awesome, all right? Tell them we sent you. So that's it.
Sweet.
We'll move back into the show. So the end of this, we're going to be talking about current events.
Oh, boy.
All right? So let's play a little game of ping pong. I mean, we can talk about the Gaza Strip stuff that happened last night. That's really current. We can talk about, the federal funding stuff getting removed, which we were panicking right after the one episode. It was late the day after. Like, federal funding got removed. And we're like, I have all these people, and they're like, FHA, VA. And I'm like, I have no clue. No clue. I'm going to call Brian. I called Brian. Brian's like, I got no clue. I'm like, all right, this is awesome, man. Like, this is great. No one has a clue. I still don't have a clue.
Well, I got suspended right away. I with all of this stuff with him, it's all negotiating. Does he really plan on putting up luxury condos on the Gaza
That was
Strip?
awesome.
Like,
Yes.
Is that really, or is he just throwing out crazy things? So when you go to negotiate whatever you're negotiating, that's in their head. And you wind up getting something that's, I don't know. I highly doubt it, but people are freaking out about it.
I mean, it's the same thing that I do with buyers. It's like, well, okay, I might want to be around the 165, 170 number. Okay, well, we're going to offer 160 because, that seems lower. So that if they counter, maybe they'll come to 165. And so it's kind of the same thing, although a little bit more extreme because he is playing with the world.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit bigger stage than me offering on a house that's $150,000, or whatever. So I think it has worked because he's playing the biggest game of chicken. And sometimes that can be scary for us as Americans and other people, but it's worked out to this point, and so like the whole thing with Canada and Mexico, he made some things happen that way. Yeah. I loved Canada's hoorah speech, acting like they actually are worth a dime. People are valuable, but come on, like don't compare apples to apples.
We buy more than they do.
Way more.
A lot more. And I didn't realize this. I had learned this the other day. So post World War II, Germany needed rebuilt because it was devastated.
Yeah.
So we allowed them to sell like their vehicles here. So Mercedes, we could buy Mercedes to help their economy, but it didn't go the other way because we needed them to sell more of their own stuff in their own country so they could make more money. So you didn't see Fords and Chevys and things like that in Germany. 80 years later, that is still the same policy. And those are the kinds of things he's trying to, like, why are we still doing this? Like, you still don't see Fords and Chevys driving around in Germany.
What about us?
Yeah, exactly. Like, in Canada, our banks aren't allowed to operate in Canada, but theirs are allowed to operate here. So, I'm not an expert in international diplomacy by any stretch of the imagination, but fair is fair to me. Like, why are we still? Well, I don't understand. I didn't realize that because you watch movies and you're not going to see an F-350 driving down the street in Berlin. Like, you're just not. Why not?
Yeah, when I was in Japan, I saw one Ford F-150.
They probably had to pay all kinds of goofy stuff to get it over there, but
they look very goofy over there too
I
because there's like little clown cars. But.
Yeah. So if they don't want to buy, then they don't. But I just don't understand. Like, and I think that's on a very vanilla level. I think that's kind of where he's coming from with a lot of this stuff. Like, we've been taking on the chin a long time with
about time we get our damn.
Come on, I mean, So again, not to go deep into some of this stuff, and we're rooting out corruption and all this, and a lot of these agencies, and people are freaking out. Let's see. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think we're going to put in up luxury hotels in the Gaza Strip. I just don't think that's happening.
You know what I think, though? Like, when it comes to, like, what they're doing with the Department of Government Efficiency, which I believe in some, I don't think that we are going to see the benefits. Maybe, like, on a economics, like, side of it. But they're not giving us money back. They're saying your tax dollars have been used wrong. We're going to use it in a different way. And I guess the only thing that they can do is to boost that economy, because other than that, you're just moving around money. Because you're never going to say, as a government, you're never going to say, or typically you're not going to say, we're going to give this back. We don't need this.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
No, they're going to say we want more. Bastards.
So from George Washington to Ronald Reagan, it took us that long to spend $1 trillion. Now we're doing it every 100 days. Every 100 days we're spending $1 trillion. Not a billion, $1 trillion. Like,
yeah, write out that many zeros.
What? So, not an accountant, and I don't have all the answers, but I don't think we should be spending money. Some of the things that are coming out now that we've been spending millions and billions of dollars on, just silly things.
Yeah.
And now people are saying, what, Elon Musk is our president, and he's Trump is his pup. Like,
yeah.
No.
It's like buying a general home inspection. So silly.
I mean, he went into X or Twitter or whatever it was at the time, and how many people did he get rid of? Like 80% of the workforce?
Yeah.
And now it's more profitable than what it was before. He's good at things, obviously. He's no dummy.
Yes.
So why not have somebody like that do the same thing? Our Defense Department's failed, the last 16 audits?
Yeah.
Don't you think somebody needs to go in and kind of clean it up a little bit?
Yeah. If I fail an audit,
allowed?
if we fail an audit,
Got a problem.
God forbid,
So
me and Brian fail an audit,
piss off a lot of people here, but
it'd be all right.
yeah,
What are you going to do about it? So
we are the #1 Canton real estate podcast. So.
we are, and still, the #1
Undisputed.
Canton Real Estate Podcast. No one even wants to challenge us.
No.
Damn it. Like, all right. Do we have like a can we have like a non-compete, Adam, where you're not allowed to work with any other
That's right.
real estate insured loan officers?
It's gonna cost you.
Hey, I got attorneys. We
Yeah, right.
slide that in there, in that contract.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Oh, no. But, it's an interesting thing because, most podcasts you'll see from the world when it relates like real estate, like loan officer stuff, is they're like in bigger markets. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to get that different perspective of being in a smaller market as far as it goes, like for price range.
Yeah.
And it's cool the impact we get to have where I can have 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds who can buy a house. It's an awesome thing. So,
and we talked about it before. I've never done so many pre-approvals for 19, 20, 21-year-olds that I do now. I mean, it's this generation impresses the hell out of me. I mean, they're in the trades and they're making 60, 70, 80 grand. They're working 50 hours a week, getting their hands dirty. They're getting married at 20. They're having kids.
Yeah.
10 years ago, that was not the case. I was not doing loans for 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Now it's unbelievable. So that's exciting. So for you to be where you are at this stage of your career, surround yourself with those people because they're going to be your clients for the next 30 years, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, that's why I just told a blue-collar guy earlier. He's not around my age, but I told him, I don't work. Yeah, I don't work. Because he's always joking with me. He's like, go back to your office. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I got clean hands. I sit behind a desk, and I don't do anything all day.
All day.
Money just falls out of the sky.
Just got
I
to
don't
get your
work.
license.
Yeah, just get your license.
Yep.
It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
So easy. Like,
That's why 80% of the loan officers have given up their license in the
Yes.
last,
yeah. I think that's funny. Like, and we just joke about it, but some people actually think that out there. They see someone who's successful, and I had to have that conversation with someone today. Like, no, like you just don't see like the dumps. Like you don't see the bad month, the bad week in the beginning where, and I'm not even far into it, but where you're like, oh man, do I want to do this? Like, this is almost too hard. Like maybe I want to go to a W-2 W-4, W-2. I don't know, whatever it is. W-2, okay. Yeah, right. W-2 where, you're making that comfortable income. You can go to school, okay? And this is what I would suggest if you want to live a comfortable life. You can go to school to be an accountant for 4 years, and you can make, coming out, $75,000. You are going to live a comfortable life. You're going to work at the job for 20 years. You're going to become a partner, and you're going to make an insane amount of money, okay? And you're going to work there 40 hours during a typical period, and then during, like, busy season, you're going to be working 60 to 80.
Yep.
You're going to have a good life, all right? And this isn't for everyone. Building a business, building a name, like.
No, if it was that, everybody do it.
Yeah. And then you get benefits, right? We don't get benefits. It's like go find your health insurance. So until you're is it 65 when they start doing the cuts on Medicare? I forget what it is. I think it's 65.
Probably.
Or
62, 65.
60, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's whenever you can start getting those cuts. But for some agents, their family, it's costing $800 a month just for health insurance.
Oh, at a minimum. If it's just you, it's.
If it's just you, it could be $400 a month.
Yeah.
And then you got your Mercedes lease to pay, and your Beamer lease, and your.
I'm not buying a German car now. I start seeing Fords over there, and I'm not consider it, but it is not an easy business. On your side more so than mine, you have to kind of stay calm and be an arbiter. Like, all right, the seller's losing their minds. Now the buyer's losing their mind. Keep everybody together and keep it going. I mean, it's not as simple as I have a house to sell. I sold it and made $3,000. That's not how this works.
Right.
And we've got to make sure that the numbers are right, and that we've made sure that all the guidelines are adhered to before we tell our client to go buy a house. So people don't realize, and that's fine. I'm fine with them thinking that my job's a piece of cake. From April to November, half my time I usually spend down at the lake, so they think I'm retired. They don't realize is I am still working 45, 50 hours a week.
Yes.
I might be on the boat sometimes doing it, but
right.
It's just, I love that aspect of it. And I could never have a job where I just go in and do the same thing every day, clock out and go home. No way. But that's a lot of people, that's what they want, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of multitasking in our field. Like it's, okay, I'm talking to this buyer who's a first-time home buyer, and maybe I'm talking to this buyer who, this is their third property, and, okay, the seller here, and then there's a commercial buyer or seller right here, and then you have an investor over here. It's like, they say it's the hats, right? How many hats you wear. And I'm sure you wear different hats depending on who you're talking to. But it's such a unique scenario. And that's why I always tell people, like, you have to have the right personality to succeed in this business. You can do fine in this business. I can teach you how to make $50,000 a year or whatever you need. But to succeed, you have to be able to juggle these different things. You have to be able to deal with people's emotions. You have to, it's just so interesting. And then at the end of the day, you still got to work your ass off. Mm-hmm. From day one to the end. I mean, you see it. You see agents. You would think like it gets easier, and I'm sure it does over time with systems and processes, but then you're just adding more clientele. And so no matter how you want to feel about it, it's always going to be putting in that work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, just yesterday, closing at 9:00, met with a realtor team at 10:30, worked the rest of the day till 7, 8 o'clock last night. Network group this morning, this right now, 4-hour expo tomorrow, which means it's going to be 6 hours, hour setting it up, hour tearing down. And I got to find time in between to lock interest rates and set up loan docs and get those out and answer the client. Like, so yeah, oh, you're just out playing all week. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
And this is in a market where I think I have 14 loans in my pipeline.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good right now. 2020, 2021, the most I had in my pipeline at one time was 89 at one time.
Wow.
Not 14, 89. And I was still doing the network thing on Wednesday. You know, like these jobs, man, it's not wake up and I feel like working for the next couple hours and then take a nap. And no, if you want to succeed, there's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah.
And they're making 60, 70 grand.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not content with that.
I feel like that's the toughest thing for people getting into this business is they're in that start when you don't have something to do. Like, you just have to find something, right? So whether you're going on your MLS and looking up what's going on in your market so that you can sound better on, whether you're going and just calling random people. I had an agent who wasn't doing a lot of business. And I said, why don't you just go on the MLS and just start clicking random properties and seeing, okay, they've been there. And we have the Forewarn app so you can look up their number as long as they're not on the do not call list. Why not just, call them. Hey, I'm an agent in the area. Just wondering if you have thought about selling. Yeah, they make it so easy nowadays, and they make it too easy to a point where people overcomplicate it. And that's my biggest thing. And we talk about this, and it's studying the roots or, obtaining the fruits, right? And so you have to think about how long you're studying those roots for and more on grabbing that fruit when it's, coming down. It's hanging there, right? Yeah. So, it's just people, they just get too bogged down on that.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a big lead fan. It's what I used to initially build everything is I was lucky enough to be at a place that did pay for some leads. But I also knew if I had to survive off of leads, I was never going to make it. So every lead I got, every client I got, you treat like gold and give them a reason to call you back the next time they buy a house or the next time rates drop and they want to refinance. And when their kids want to buy a house or their uncle, that's how you build it to the point where I don't want leads. I don't need leads. That's the whole goal. And if you're living off of leads and you're not taking care of your clients, it's not gonna end well.
And I'm not sure if we've talked about this before, but a lot of people think that referrals are 5-10 years down the road. I don't think they understand the power in someone in just going above and beyond. And sometimes it's about not making so much on that first deal or whatever, or that first person, but the impact that who they know and how they can help you, right? Yep. We talk about the little things that we did in the start, or just go out of our way to do things for clients that's above and beyond. And those are things that stick with them. And that whenever you're dripping with them, oh, hey, yeah, just want to know if you know anyone looking to buy or sell. It's giving them a reason to stand up for you and say, oh, yeah, this guy, he did something good for me. I want to refer him out. And it happens after 6 months.
Ask for the referral.
You got to ask.
Most people don't ask. Like, they're scared. Like, hey, you did a great job. Thanks for helping me get in my house. All right. Who do you know? At work, is anybody in the process of buying a house? Is anybody at work looking? Like, put it in their heads.
Yeah.
I don't think that way sometimes. It's like, yeah, you're right. So, if, Grable Plumbing, for example, said, hey, this is something we're seeing a lot of. Ask around your office. I asked around the office. Yeah, sure enough, that person is having that problem. Guess what? Give them a call. So just ask. It's really not that hard.
Right.
It really isn't. But, when I first came over to Signature Mortgage in 2009, I had to work off the leads because my first 6 years we worked leads and so I had no relationships really. So I would go to open houses. We went to an open house. How'd this go? No, he was one of our leads, one of our cheap leads that we bought back then that we call, cold call, blah, blah. Wound up doing his, like a refinance, like $150,000, he and his wife. Within a year, they had moved to Hudson, $400,000 house. Yeah. Then they started buying rental properties.
Nice.
Within 2 years, 8 rental properties. I financed it all. So I'm up to 10 loans for one guy in 2 years. Then they got divorced. Well, guess what? When you get divorced and he wanted to keep the houses, you have to refinance every single one.
Right.
Now there's 10 more loans I did at one time for that guy. He's bought and sold. I've done over 30 loans for that one guy in my career. 30 loans.
Wow.
From one crappy little lead from 2010. if you take care of them, they will keep coming back. So you never know what that's going to look like. It's not one every 5 years. It's not one every 10. It could be 5 in 5 years.
Right.
No,
Absolutely.
that's how you build it, in my opinion, at least on my side.
Absolutely. I feel like we've touched on that a lot. So,
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that we don't have much more to add. We are probably over time a little bit. So we will just continue us. Next week, we plan to have a special guest on this show. So we are going to be doing some thinking and figure out who we can get on here.
It won't be Trump or Elon.
No, they're busy blowing up our country, apparently, if you read the media. Okay. All right. So we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Keys and Credit Podcast.